You are now entering Film Code.
I seen it. You're fond of me lobster.
Molly, you in danger, girl.
Your ass looks like about 150 pounds of chew bubble gum, Kyle. You know that? Say it, sir! I don't believe you people.
What do you mean, you people?
What do you mean, you people?
Huh? Now answer my question. Were you rushing or were you dragging? Answer!
I loved it. I don't care what
What's going
you
on,
guys
everybody?
say. It was great.
Welcome to
I
Film
loved it.
Code. Welcome to our season 3 finale. We are closing out with a big one. I am Phoenix Clouden. I am joined by my two co-hosts, Zach Sneef. Zach, how are you, sir?
Well, Phoenix, I am doing fantastic, sir. Had a great night last night, and the fun continues this morning. So, but yeah, I'm ready to have fun on this last episode, and move past season 2 or
3. It's 3.
3. Yeah,
it's okay. Zach had a long, hard.
Phoenix, just said that. I'm really happy to be here this morning.
Cut that.
I'm really happy to be here this morning and excited to talk about this with you guys.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I was also joined by Brandon. Sir, how are you, man?
Man, I'm doing good, Phoenix. It's actually really good to be back. We had a couple of week hiatus. Life has just been super busy lately. But it's good to finally be wrapping up season 3. It's crazy how far we've come now. Like we what was our last episode? The Film Code Awards with Nathan?
Yeah.
That was a really good episode. I just want to say again, thank you guys for all who voted. That was a lot of fun. And yeah, we're looking at bigger and brighter things in season 4. So that being said, how are you doing, Phoenix?
I'm awesome, man. I'm both really excited and kind of, sad. I feel like this has been one of our strongest seasons. So hate to see it go, but makes room for something even better in the year to come. So yeah, looking forward to season 4. And also looking forward to talking about this movie. If you clicked on this episode, we are talking Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This is the 32nd MCU film, the second of Phase 5. It wraps up the trilogy of the Guardians story by James Gunn, as he is moving on to be the co-head of the DCU studios in Warner Brothers. But yeah, so this is what we believe to be the final ride of this iteration of the Guardians. We have Rocket by voiced by Bradley Cooper, Groot voiced by Vin Diesel. You had Dave Bautista as Drax, Pom Klementif as Mantis. I will always get her name wrong.
Zoe Saldana.
Zoe Saldana as Gamora. Nebula. Who plays Nebula?
Karen Gillan.
Karen Gillan. There it is. As Nebula. And of course, Chris Pratt as Star-Lord. And then you had, oh God, what is his name?
Sean Gunn as Kraglin.
Sean Gunn is Kraglin, but also
Sylvester Stallone as what's his face?
No, the guy who played Adam Warlock. Why am I blanking on his name?
Oh shit. God, I should know this. Will something. Will Poulter.
Will Poulter.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that just wow.
I'm sorry, Will Poulter. I love you as an actor. I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
Yeah. So Will Poulter as Adam Warlock, and Elizabeth Debicki comes back as the Sovereign, and Chukwudi Iwuji, who plays the High Evolutionary. So pretty stacked cast. Good to see everybody back. This was, like we said, the final volume in this trilogy. Zach, why don't you kick us off non-spoiler thoughts? What did you overall think of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3?
Honestly, I thought it was fantastic. I think that it went out with a bang for sure, and as it should. I mean, I really enjoyed the first Guardians movie. That was probably when it came out one of my favorites, and the second one too. I haven't really listed them out yet, but those are a couple of my favorite movies in the MCU. So for it to end this way, I was actually very happy and very satisfied with the route that James Gunn went with this.
Absolutely. Brandon, what about you?
So, I mean, it's no surprise. I've made this known very few and far between. I guess that's the term for it. I've made it very known that Guardians Volume 2 is my favorite MCU film. I'd say the Guardians story and the Guardians crew still holds up as my favorite MCU people. James Gunn handled every single character properly, and I think it was the perfect send-off for the, like you said, like it's the last time we'll see this iteration of Guardians. I think it was a perfect send-off. I'm not gonna go into spoilers on that just yet, but man, like I was very impressed. Just like between like the prosthetic work, like the hell that just came out yesterday that this had more prosthetic work than the Grinch.
Yeah,
which is
that's
insane.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah. But like huge props to James Gunn and the crew, man. I have a friend of mine. She was an assistant editor on this.
Nice.
And I shot her a message after the movie. I'm like, huge props to you and James and the crew. Thank you for an amazing ride. Thank you for an amazing run. This has been awesome. She was like, yeah, thank you. She was like, I've been she's like, ever since I started working on this, I was crying on the daily. So just James Gunn, thank you for this perfect send off, man. You came in, you delivered, and I'm so excited to see what you do in the DC EU, because man, I cannot wait.
Okay.
I am nervous. I am nervous because I am a huge Marvel fan. So,
what do you think? You're gonna start liking DC more?
I really hope not. But yeah, I mean, James Gunn always does a phenomenal job. I don't doubt his talent ever.
Yeah. Okay, so I got to be the outlier here.
No.
And just point out that it was just it wasn't all that. By the way, I'm lying like a motherfucker.
Yeah, I was about to say, aren't you the same guy who literally just said last week, since I can't catch a movie this week, you can just be like, oh yeah, you go see Guardians
again.
So
exactly.
I immediately knew I was calling bullshit.
Yeah, no, this was excellent. Like pure excellence. I echo everything you guys said. Big thank you to James Gunn. Like to deliver a trilogy this satisfying. You know what I'm saying? Like that's awesome. And I think he might be the only, I think he is the only director in the MCU to have written and directed all three of the films in his trilogy in the MCU. So like, yeah, like
I think he also handled the writing in Infinity War for them, like their solo scenes. I could be wrong.
I think so, but even still, like that's amazing.
And it may have been Marcus McFeely. Let me look.
Yeah, it may have been Marcus McFeely, but like, I mean, I wouldn't doubt that he gave them some additional writing. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like to carry this trilogy all the way through by one hand, I think is insane. It's been incredible. It's been an excellent run. I was always a big proponent of Volume 2. I felt like Volume 2 was way better than Volume 1. Then I rewatched them and I'm like, okay, I'll concede Volume 1 is better. But then, people started breaking down some scenes from Volume 2, and now I'm like, I don't know, man. Volume 2 got some heft to it that I didn't even realize was there. So I don't know. But then this came out, and now I'm like, you know what? These are just solid all the way around. There's no getting around it. When I saw this the second time, I somehow loved it even more. Like the whole Rocket backstory is just incredible. Like
Soul crushing, man.
so
Like,
good.
They hinted at it in the first two films,
Yeah.
and you don't really pick up on it. You're just like, okay, yeah, he was just a raccoon that got experimented on and made him talk and be able
Yeah.
to fight and stuff. But no, man, like this is so deep rooted. It's insane.
Mm. And I mean, they do it so incredibly well. And yeah, like we'll get into it more, but like there's some scenes in this movie where I was like, the first time I watched it, I was like, nah, you ain't getting me, James. I'm like, I ain't falling for your trickery. And then the second time I was like, I'm like, it's some hard scenes in here where I was just like, oh my God, I love this movie. So yeah, very, very happy with it. So
Moving back to our Infinity War conversation, Marks and McFeely were the head writers of Infinity War. However, every director that came before had were involved in the writing of every single character.
nice. Yeah, that makes sense. That's how you keep a cohesive story. And I do think, and it's funny too that you mentioned that, because after seeing this the second time, I came back and I was like, you know what? I want to revisit, because the thing that a lot of people said is that this is the best MCU movie since Endgame. And I was like, you know what? Let me revisit Infinity War and Endgame and see if it has that same feeling. It doesn't, but it does come very, very close. Like I like when watching Infinity War. I rewatched the Infinity War trailer, and the moment when the Guardians pop up at the end, like that sent everybody, like, just they got so excited at just seeing the Guardians. And I was like, yeah, that I get it. Like they didn't even do anything. It was literally just, who are you people? And you see the Guardians and you're like, oh my God, yes, it's like the best punch to the end of the trailer. And then I, thought about the end of Infinity War and I was like, oh man, like that hits your heart when you realize like all of them are gone except Rocket and Nebula, like the perfect two to leave for the Guardians. So yeah, I was like, at first I was saying like, I don't know if it's the best since Endgame. It's definitely the best since No Way Home. But after rewatching it, I'm like, no, I think it's got Endgame feelings
Yeah.
to it. Yeah.
For me, I'm like everyone's like, oh, is it better than No Way Home? For me, I have No Way Home on its own platform, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we're talking strictly MCU, I'd like to skip, like, I mean, because yeah, No Way Home is MCU, but it's mainly Sony. Like,
Yeah.
so I like to keep that separate because that movie's on a level of its own. Like it's crazy. Just Volume 2, just all of the three Guardians films, I think, are top 10 for me. Just, I mean, yeah, Infinity War and Endgame are in there. Captain America, Winter Soldier probably, or Civil War. I got to go through and rank them still. But man, I forgot how great the MCU can be because of just how washed it has been lately. Like, and I hate to say it because like the MCU used to be on a freaking like mountain.
Listen, as somebody who liked, I liked a lot of things in Phase 4 that most people didn't like. Like I really liked Black Widow. I really liked Eternals. But a lot of people weren't high on those. But there's some stuff in Phase 4 that was just terrible, like really, really bad. And a lot of people didn't like Quantumania, which I loved. I really had a great time with Quantumania.
It was all right.
So yeah. So I get what you're saying. Like it feels good to finally have an MCU film that feels as good and satisfying as like those earlier films that you mentioned, the Infinity Wars, the Endgames, the Civil Wars, the first Avengers. It feels good to have a film finally on that level.
Yeah, man. That's what I love about it. Like that's why I keep giving props to James Gunn. Is like he didn't set up potential for a future. He didn't set, like. Have we torn the seal of spoilers yet? Can we?
If you're ready.
Let's do it.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
I love how James Gunn handled all these characters to the point of, yeah, there's a chance they can all come back together, but I'm pretty sure they won't. Dave Bautista already said he's done playing Drax. Rocket and Groot have their own little family of the Guardians now. Star-Lord's on Earth. Mantis is doing her thing. Nebula's also on Nowhere with Drax. Like, will there be a time that they're needed to come back? Yes. Will it be at any kind of level as it is now? Oh no. No way. Because like, I don't even know how they're gonna handle Kang Dynasty or Secret Wars anymore. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, man. Like, because they've only confirmed that Star-Lord has potential to come back.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he is coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I thought that was an interesting tag though at the end. Like they didn't say the Guardians will return. They specifically said
the
Star-Lord. The
Star-Lord.
legendary Star-Lord will return.
That's the comic name. So I feel like there's gonna be a movie about him.
Ooh.
Which would be very interesting.
Yeah.
Can I just say that I absolutely loved what is his name? The High Priestess? Or was it the
High Evolutionary?
High Evolutionary, sorry. I absolutely loved the High Evolutionary in this movie. Like, a lot of people were like, oh, rage doesn't equal good acting or yelling doesn't equal good acting. It worked in this role.
Dude, he, like, at first I was like, my first viewing was very cynical. I don't know why. But in first viewing, I was like, he seems kind of, generic villain kind of guy. But when I watched it the second time, I was like, it's not that he's evil, it's that he has absolutely zero empathy, like no empathy whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And like that to me was way more, once you like really settle in with that, like you could just take, like, someone is brilliant, right? Someone is brilliant. Someone is, a gift and all in every other aspect. But if they have no empathy, they are literally just cold. Like they're one of the just empty people. Yep. And so I thought he did such an excellent job in portraying that this, like, he's sitting with Rocket and Rocket's going through a formula. He's like, oh, excellent. You're getting it right. And you feel like there's a sense of pride in his voice.
Right.
And then almost immediately he like almost chokes Rocket as he's explaining to him, like, the new world needs certain perfection. And you could almost see him say, you're not it, but like kind of like subtly. And like, I thought he did excellent. Like he was excellent as the High Evolutionary.
Yeah, because he definitely was getting pissed at the fact that something not as quote unquote perfect as he is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could be capable of knowing more than he does. So yeah. I thought that was a really interesting take. I liked how they did that. I'm just curious. They don't really explain like what, like they kind of explain like they're taking him in, but you don't really see much of him after that. But I hope he comes back because in the comics, he's really like he's a big deal. So I really want to see more of him. I don't want this to be the last time that we see him, like a lot of MCU villains. Kind of like, this happened and now we're just going to move on to the next villain. So I hope that they kind of go back and develop him a little more past Guardians. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah. I would love it if he was like a part of Kang's army or something. That would be awesome.
See, something that'd be cool is like if they need to recast Jonathan Majors. I think they're going to at this point. I think there's a way to do it. Because, towards the end, he gets his face peeled off, and you don't see a body. He might still be alive. He finds Kang, he takes his face, or he somehow does whatever, some kind of voodoo magic or whatever, becomes Kang, Boom. Like I'm pretty sure that sounds really stupid, but in my head it sounds better.
It did sound stupid.
Yeah, it sounds
Love
better
you.
in my head. Like if you picture it, it sounds better than actually saying it. It's just like there's something that Harrison Ford said when George Lucas wrote a line. He's like, "Hey George, you can write this shit, but you can't say it."
I remember that story. Yeah. Yeah. So I did. I love the High Evolutionary. Zach, you said something earlier about James Gunn, and that's what it was. The thing that I like very much about this movie in particular, as opposed to a lot of the stuff that we saw in Phase 4, is like the thing that James Gunn is really, really, really good at is creating a scenario in which the personal feels just as important as the universal, right? So like a lot of the Phase 4 movies were like the world is ending, the whole world is at stake, the universe is at stake, the multiverse is at stake.
Look, Skybeam.
Right, you know what I'm saying? And like, so the fact that we finally had this more condensed story where it's like, no, we just need to save our friend. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that felt like the most important thing in the world at that moment. And like, I love that stripped down that level of intimacy for the story, and it works so brilliantly. And like you said, like he's not setting up anything in the future. He's not, setting up new characters or new villains or anything like that. Like it's all very much contained in this one story about saving their friend, right? And like that's the stakes. The stakes is we don't want to lose Rocket, right? Like and that to me is perfect. Like, in other ones it's, you created an incursion. Now the entire multiverse is at stake, or
we gotta stop Kang from taking over the universe. We gotta stop this one villain who has the one thing that will destroy every single planet in the world.
Right.
Or hell, even in Guardians 2, like Ego was literally destroying every single world.
Yeah, they were trying to prevent him from doing that.
And the first one, they were trying to stop Ronan from taking Xandar, which would lead to the rest of the planets. So I mean, yeah.
But even in that one, that was a little bit more intimate because it was the building of the team. So like, yeah, that's what I was like. I like that. Like, and when I think about the best stories in the MCU, they're all like that. Like, I think outside of Infinity War and Endgame, where it's like, okay, the stakes are really, really high. Like every other story, like when I think of my like top 10, which involves like Black Panther, Civil War, Winter Soldier, Homecoming, you know what I'm saying? Like it's all really like intimate stories of this is the one person we got to stop for this reason, or we have one goal that we have to protect, or something like that. Very simple, very straightforward, but it feels more important than anything else. And I love that we were able to get back to that.
Obviously, we're not including Infinity War and Endgame in that top 10 list because those are kind of it's kind of its own separate thing, which you have to appreciate.
Yeah.
Because that was like we throw everyone on screen. So
it's just like, because like they were like, oh yeah, like it doesn't matter your rankings here. We're putting everybody in one film together.
Yeah. But and it worked. But
it did.
So yeah, Phoenix, back to what you're saying. I think that it really adds an extra level of depth to the movie when you make it more about, like, especially the human concept of how we love our friends and family, and like how we admire them and would do anything for them. And I think that makes this movie extremely relatable for anyone watching it. Even, with Rocket's backstory, right? Like that's also a human concept. Like the fact that you don't know someone's story and people can come from rough places that make them what they are, in this present day. So I thought that was also like a very human concept for James Gunn to kind of attack. Is like, hey, you don't really know anyone's life until you hear it.
Mm-hmm.
So, because maybe I know like the Guardians movies are typically funny, right? But like in general, as characters, you probably before this thought Rocket's just kind of an asshole. Like, for no reason,
Right.
But like you see like how he grew up, and now it's like, oh wow, like he went through some shit,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like that James Gunn approached it that way. So you can be you can relate a lot more to Rocket, which is perfect because of the way he set it up for him basically leading the Guardians,
That
So
that scene in Guardians 2 where he's like where he stops Gamora from going back for Quill, and he's like, I'm sorry, I can only afford to lose one friend today. That hits so much more
Oh,
after seeing all the stuff with
right.
Lila, Floor, and Teefs.
Oh my God. Oh God. That scene. I mean, oh God. When I tell you the first time I saw it, I was fighting against tears. But the second time I was just like, let him go, bro. That scene is every scene with Rocket and Floor and Lila and Tease is heartbreaking, like generally soul shattering. I mean, you're watching like cruelty to animals, like is not is one of the worst things you could possibly do. Like you want to make someone hate a villain instantly, cruelty to animals. Like that'll do it. But like you had these four, and they were just the sweetest, the kindest. Linda Cardarelli is the one who did the voice for Lila. Just perfect casting. And it was just these guys they were just hanging out, dreaming of a better life. They chose their names. It was just all very sweet, and it like you should have known that James was being very manipulative with your emotions at that point, because it's like, oh, give me four, mutilated animals, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh, okay. And then make them the most incredibly sweet and naive and innocent as they can be.
Mm-hmm.
And then, oh, by the way, we're going to kill all of them. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God. It was the worst way that they died. It was the worst way. Just strays. They got caught by strays.
Yeah.
Like, oh, my heart sank, bro. I was like, that is the worst thing I've ever seen in any movie. Like, it was just so unconscionably mean. Like, and then like the thing that kills me is Floor, when after Lila's dead, and Rocket obviously is upset, and she just keeps screaming, Rocket, Floor, and Tease go now. Rocket, Floor,
Rocket Floor,
I'm
Teefs
like,
go now.
oh, like oh my God. Like every time I think about it, I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. It
He let his rage
yeah,
get them killed.
yeah. I mean,
I want to touch real quick on something else in the movie that I really loved. I think it hasn't been said, but that CGI on the organic world was fantastic. I love that whole scene. I don't know, it's just a beautiful scene. I think they did a fantastic job with it.
the visuals in this movie were perfect. Like I mean, like there's nothing glaring where you're like, wow, like that was terrible. You know what I'm saying? Like that have been the case with Multiverse of Madness, with Love and Thunder, with even Wakanda Forever, and a lot of people will argue very much with Quantumania. Like you just saw a lot of glaring, ugly visual effects, and then this one, it was just like, okay, we smoothed it out. Everybody had enough time, and it worked out just so much better. But yeah, like on that planet, yeah, it was some excellent visuals there.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent visuals.
Well, I just love the way that I don't know who, but like whoever envisioned that looking like that was like I loved it, because like I'm not, maybe it is in the MCU, I don't know, in the Marvel comics. I'm not really familiar, but like to put that amount of detail into it to make it feel like it could be like a thing, that was cool. I really enjoyed that. And the ode to 2001: A Space Odyssey with the suits.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Can I just mention that Nathan Fillion was freaking hilarious in this
Oh
movie?
my god, it was so funny.
He's like, oh yeah, I got a nephew like that too.
Like, oh yeah. That line was great. I loved it every time he used it.
Oh my god, yeah. I didn't even know he was in this, so that was like a really welcome surprise. And then, like, yeah, he got some of the funniest lines in the movie.
Yeah,
and
he,
Drax had me in tears the entire time, bro. Like, he was so funny. Like,
I loved when they're like talking crap. What did Mantis say about him? She's talking crap about him.
She called him stupid.
Yeah, she called him stupid. He's like, you think I'm stupid? He's like getting ready to tear up. She makes him forget it.
Yeah. Like, and then he starts acting all confident again. That's so hilarious.
Oh, and then the scene where she like makes the security guard fall in love with Drax.
Oh my god. That was actually Dutch Vanderland from Red Dead Redemption 2. And
nice.
Red Dead Redemption 1 too, but yeah, it's from Red Dead Redemption series. I found that out really late in the game. I'm like, oh my god, is that really him? That's awesome.
It was so funny because the second time I went and saw it in theaters, you could tell like I was seeing it with an audience that hadn't seen it before. Like it was their first viewing. And like that scene was the funny. Like they roared during that scene. Like I was like, that's hilarious. Like that scene had him in like dying laughing. The
Zarg nuts.
Zarg.
Zarg, yeah.
Yeah, when she asked him specifically for me, he goes, "They're all gone."
They're all gone.
Another one.
Yeah. I'd like to also mention that I mean there were a lot of cameos in this movie of just like all of James Gunn's friends and his wife. His wife had a pretty big role in this. Ratcatcher from Suicide Squad was in this.
She was in this. Oh my god, that was her as Uda, wasn't it?
Yeah, Uda, yep.
Oh wow. She's beautiful.
Sean Gunn, but he was given he's a main character. Pete Davidson was in it.
He was?
Yeah.
As what?
Was he with Gamora?
I think he was. Yeah, I think he was with Gamora. I could be wrong.
Wait, was he really?
I could be wrong. Hold on.
No one got my joke, but I thought it was funny.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Last sighted with Gamora.
He was on. No, he was one of the guys that got shot down on the High Evolutionary ship.
Oh, really? He was really undercover then. Like,
oh no, he was in makeup.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
There were just so many cameos of just all of James Gunn's friends, and it was great.
Yeah, it's a shame, that Drax, Dave Bautista, he said he's not going to be doing it anymore, because I actually really have always enjoyed Drax's character and the straightforwardness and rigidness of the very literal thinking.
Yeah.
I have always loved that about his character, and he's just and then he'll lie about things, and it's just hysterical because he's so straightforward with it and pretends like it's true, and it's great.
Yeah, his delivery as Drax is the calling card of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Especially of that character, because it's like he has so many moments where it's like it's clear he doesn't understand he doesn't get sarcasm, he doesn't get intonation, and so it's like he just takes things very, very literally, and it's so funny. And I think this is the best characterization of that character that they've had in all the Guardians movies, and in the stuff that they were featured in. I feel like this is the best version that we got of that character.
if you guys have a chance, I know Zach's trying to get there. If you guys have a chance to go to Epcot and ride that new Guardians of the Galaxy ride, Drax is absolutely hilarious on that ride.
Nice. And I mean, I get it. Like doing that makeup's got to be like 6 hours a day.
Oh,
like,
easily.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's brutal. I get it. Like, no one wants to have to go through that for forever. So I see why he was like, it's time to wrap it up. Plus he's getting old. You know what I'm saying? These ain't what they used to be. But I'm gonna miss Drax. I don't know if we'll get a character quite like him. Speaking of which, let's go to a character that a lot of people did have complaints about, although me personally, I rather loved Adam Warlock.
Yes. Okay, before we dive into that, I need to know what first work of Will Poulter's we've seen.
Ooh.
Oh, Where the Millers is, I think, one I can remember.
That might have to be mine too. Hold on, let me see. Will Poulter.
As far as I can remember.
While you're pulling up,
like the first one that I saw was probably Where the Millers, but the best one that I saw was him in Detroit. I thought he was really, really good in that movie.
I thought my first knowledgeable knowing of his of him as an actor was Black Mirror Bandersnatch.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he was fantastic in that movie too.
Oh my god, there isn't a single piece of Will Poulter media in any of his things that aren't memeable. When he's in Bandersnatch, he's like, fair enough, see you around. That is a meme. Him flying in at the beginning of the movie is a meme. Like how does he get memed every single time he's in a movie or a TV show?
It's his face.
It is his face.
His face is very animated.
Yeah.
Every time. It's always like it has a signature look to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you might not even know who he is that much. And if you see him, oh, that dude's famous.
Yeah.
You don't have to know his name. Like, you just know that he's famous because he's just he has a very memorable face.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what did you guys think of his character, how it was handled in Adam Warlock?
Yeah.
Oh, that was
better than MODOK.
Better than MODOK.
Well, okay. I mean, yeah, but I don't know. That's kind of why we'll get into later what I'll talk about later, but that's kind of why I don't think it was absolutely a perfect movie was the way they did Adam's character, because there's a point, like, okay, the point where his mother is killed by the High Evolutionary.
Mm-hmm.
There's a moment where you're like, oh, okay, he's pissed. Now we're gonna he's gonna show like he's really an anti-hero and he's gonna join up, because in the comics he's basically an anti-hero, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's not good or bad, he just has his own agenda. And so when his mother dies, you're like, oh, well, the High Evolutionary killed her, so obviously like he's gonna team up with him. But that didn't really happen, which upset me, because it's like, why is he still fighting them? His mother died. He's not upset about towards the person who just murdered her. And, he's still trying to pick a fight with Guardians to prove his worth to a guy that killed his mother. Like, and he's young, right? So
yeah,
he should be very highly emotional, like, to be that young, as far as, how long he's been alive. So I wasn't really happy with that part. I felt like they had a really cool moment to actually show him being more than just the bad guy, right? Like the bodyguard kind of deal. Like, yes, I just do whatever he says, and I think that they missed some mark with that. And also, I would like to say that he, like, never mind. I don't know. I like had a thought and then I don't. Anyways, cut that out. But yeah, I wish that they had done a better job with Adam Warlock, to be honest. That was my one complaint with this movie was the way they handled his character.
Okay, so for me, I really, really liked how they did Adam Warlock because in the comics, Adam Warlock is a like how would you call it?
They nerfed
yeah,
Warlock. Like he was 100% nerfed.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Like he's a Galactus level like threat. So like I'm like to me, I'm like, if you're gonna have that character in the Guardians films, it doesn't make sense for him to be that level of overpowered. Like so them bringing him down and like you moved him from his cocoon too early, like cool. So I'm like, okay, he's not the the Adam Warlock that we see in the comics at this point in time. He's very much a child. I'm like, cool. I can live with that characterization because of how overpowered the character actually is, based on his origins. So for me, I was okay with it. I feel like if you had put Adam Warlock in, say, an Avengers movie, then I would have been like, this characterization is awful. Like, what I'm saying? Like no, like you gotta up the stakes a little bit. But like because you're putting him with a sort of ground level team, saying they're not the most super powered individuals, I was like, okay, it makes more sense that he would be on their level. So
Well, I get that. I'm not upset with them nerfing him, but it's just like they made him kind of like this drone embodiment of like, yes, I'll do whatever my master says, kind of like, yeah, he just killed my mom, but I'm so gonna try to prove myself to him. Like that just felt kind of like really, like if you're a young child and someone kills your mom, like you're not gonna react by trying to make them happy. You know what I mean? Like, look at Batman. But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get it. I think it was a delayed response, right? Because he just didn't really know what to do. And it does come. It's funny because there's a moment at the end when he's saving Star-Lord, and they literally James Gunn, as masterful of and funny and much of an asshole in his own way. There's a literal shot where they recreate the painting, Michelangelo's painting with the two fingers touching.
That was funny.
And I'm like, that painting is called The Creation of Adam.
Yeah.
So I'm like, so they literally just took that idea to show like this is how Adam becomes, a fully realized person. So like I said, it's just delayed. Like he should have been there sooner, but to get the emotional effect, I think they just held off on it. But yeah, I didn't mind the character, and I'm really kind of interested to see how he grows with the Guardians, or not. That's really what I'm looking forward to seeing with that character. But yeah,
I love
overall
Cosmo.
Cosmo
was great.
I forgot
Cosmo and Kraglin. Yeah. The whole
Oh.
fact he would not refer to her or refer to, I guess, him?
Her.
I don't
Yeah.
remember. It was a her, right? Yeah, the whole fact he wouldn't refer to her as a good girl was hilarious. Like, and she just kept bringing it up that he kept calling her a bad girl.
And like that's what I mean by like bringing it down to an intimate level. Like for Cosmo, being called bad was the worst thing in the world.
Oh, sorry, it was bad dog, not
Bad
bad
dog.
Yeah, bad dog. Yeah.
Like, yeah, that being called that was like the worst thing in the world to her. And like just finally being able to be called good girl or good dog, she was like, yay. Like that's all she wanted. And I was just like, that's awesome. You know what I'm saying? It was just a very small, intimate thing. And but it meant the world to her. So I thought that was great. And like for a side story going on in this other big, intense story, you're like, that was just adorable. Nice little cute add-on. One thing we absolutely have to talk about, the music. Because the music is always the state has been the staple for the Guardians franchise. It had the first one had a killer soundtrack.
Awesome Mix Volume 1, 2, and 3 are all bangers.
Exactly. Like the second one had a great one, and this one like again, my first watch, I don't know why I was so cynical on my first watch, but I was just like, these songs aren't hitting like the last two. I was just like, I'm not getting that feel, that pull, that emotion. I don't know if it's just how they're being used, but I just wasn't getting it. They felt more like needle drops instead of like, character builders or stuff like that, like they used to be. But when I watched it the second time, no, it all flows. And like the thing that got me was it was two songs that got me. It was the Earth, Wind, and Fire song, and it was Dog Days Are Over. Like, yeah, just the way that they were both used in this film. I was just like, okay, like now I'm feeling it. Like the Earth, Wind, and Fire is funny because it's playing when they're messing all of these guys up. Because it's such a slow romantic song, to use that during a fight scene, I thought was hilarious. And then it has a cut in it when like, it looks like all is lost. And then once they figure it out, the song comes back. I was just like, that's excellently well played. And then Dog Days Are Over. Oh my God. Like you want to talk about the perfect finish to this adventure. I was just like, yeah, like you have to dance after that. Like I dug it. It was so well done.
This gets me to my a good point of like, there's a line that Drax says in Volume 2. He's like, she's not a dancer. You got to find somebody who dances.
Yeah.
With you. And Drax wasn't that guy then. He is now.
Yeah.
I also like that they showed he always has been, but like the father figure.
Right.
That he was more than just a big dumb idiot,
Yeah. Well, I mean, like his whole arc in the beginning was trying to avenge the loss of his
daughter. Yeah.
So like to come to this place where now like he's got, thousands of kids. Like that's the best ending for Drax. Like it literally is the best ending for that character.
Yeah, and I love when they're talking the entire time and they're like, I don't know how to communicate with them. And then Drax comes out of nowhere speaking their language.
Choop choop.
Yeah. And they're like, how did you do that? He's like, well, you didn't ask me.
Oh my God.
That was so funny.
That's amazing. So is there anything else you guys want to talk about? We went through a lot.
We've gone through a lot. I'd like to mention something that we finally hear what Drax says is, I love you guys. Okay, the reason we were able to understand what he's saying, he still said I am Groot.
Yes.
But we spent so much time with Groot. James Gunn confirmed this, that since we've spent so much time with Groot, we're able to finally understand what he's saying.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's so funny too, because like again, that first time it happened, I was so pissed at that. Like when I first saw it, because I was like, Groot has only been known to say either I am Groot or we are Groot. You know what I'm saying? And that was it. And so like when he said I love you guys, I was like, like that just felt so manipulative. Like, really, James Gunn, like, and all of a sudden he can form English sentences. Like, get out of here.
Right?
Like,
No, yeah, no. It's just we can understand him now.
right. And like it took me on my second viewing to see, like, no, he actually mouths, I am Groot, but we hear I love you guys. And I'm like, oh, and I saw that and I was like, oh, I see what you were doing. Like, yeah, because even just before then, when he's saying goodbye to Gamora, and Gamora doesn't understand him the whole time. And and then he says I'm Groot, and she gets it. She's like, oh, that's what you're saying. And so like to bring us into that moment too, I just thought was brilliant. Like that was just a really cool thing for James Gunn to do. I dug that. But now I'm curious if we will continue to hear I am Groot, or if we will finally be able to understand him.
What do you guys think of Groot's character?
Great.
Awesome.
No, yeah, no. He it's crazy how much of a step up that we've gotten, like between baby Groot, teenage Groot, to middle age. We now have middle age Groot.
It's like young adult Groot.
Young adult Groot.
Swole Groot.
And then we had at the end credit scenes, fucking swole Groot, man. That was awesome. Speaking of the F word, we finally got our first F bomb in the MCU.
And it was used in the most perfect way.
It was so great. She just really didn't know it. He was like, open the fuck.
So relatable on so many levels. Just childhood for me.
Right.
That's some shit my parents would say. Like if I'd ask them a dumbass question, what do you know? Open the fucking door.
Yeah. I wish they didn't post that scene early.
Oh, they posted it early?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I know they posted that early. And they bleeped it. But I put it on social media. I was like, why are you posting this scene of all scenes? I'm like, save that for the theater, because that would have been so great had everyone gone in completely blind and just heard, open the fucking door.
I think most people went in blind, Brandon. You just happened to find that.
I did not catch that at all.
That's very unfortunate.
Yeah.
I think like for me, like I'm coming across the Nick and Nathan method more, where I'm like, I don't want to watch trailers, but at the same time, like I'll watch your first trailer. Like I'll watch your first trailer, but I'm not watching TV spots. I'm not watching, small clips, not watching your second and third trailers. I'm not doing it because you're giving something away. Even if it's small, you're giving something away.
I'm starting to follow that same method. Like, I still haven't seen the newest Spider-Verse trailer.
Me either.
I saw the first one where he's talking to his mom. That's it. I haven't seen anything else besides that.
And like, I don't want to see anything else for Doom Part 2. Like that first trailer, got me. I'm in the door. I'm in the door opening weekend. You got me. Like I don't need to see anything else.
You got to pull the disgusting film replies. We will be seated. I got to hear you say, I will be seated.
I will be seated. So yeah, like that's I'm glad like I didn't even see that, because that would have tarnished that moment for me. It wouldn't have been as funny if I'd have known it existed. So I'm glad I was able to catch that in the theater. We didn't talk about that hallway fight scene.
No sleep till Brooklyn. God,
that was
masterful.
So cool. Like that was like one of the coolest sequences in the Guardians films there has been.
It's one of the only scenes that has every single Guardian together
and fighting as a team. Like that was sick.
Because in every other film, like they all do their own thing. Like in Infinity War to try and take out Thanos, they split up. In the Battle on Titan, they split up. In Guardians 2, they're all on different sides of the planet on Ego.
Right.
So, yeah.
That was sick. That was so sick. There's like, oh man, there was some dope stuff in there. And then when they fight the High Evolutionary and they all team up on him, Gamora getting that last stab was cold blooded, like cold blooded. So yeah, it was. I really freaking enjoyed this movie. Like I'm gonna probably see it again, like just because it was that dope.
There's so much coming out over the next few weeks. I don't think I'll be able to see this again in theaters as much as I want to.
Yeah, there's a lot.
We'll see. But so final ratings, guys. What are we giving Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3?
I give it a solid 4.5 stars.
I'm gonna have to follow up with that solid 4.5. James Gunn, you gave us a perfect send off. I couldn't thank you more for this, man. And yeah, good luck in the DCEU. I will be watching.
I think I am gonna ride that 4.5 with you guys as well. Really, really enjoyed this one, man. Perfect cap to this trilogy. I loved it. I dug it. I can't wait to see it again. And it just feels so good to finally have a film in the MCU that is this good again. Like, I think the Marvels is next. Please be on the same level. I beg of you. Please be.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Just from the first trailer, I think the chemistry of the three ladies, Rambeau, Kamala, and Carol, just great.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. All right, so that's 4.5 stars all around from us. What did you guys think of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3? Let us know on Twitter and Instagram at FilmCodePod. We are going to move on now to What's Good. What's good? What's good? What's good? Gentlemen, how was your week? What did you see? What would you recommend, Brandon?
I have been watching way too many movies lately.
Yeah, me too.
After the wedding was over, I had so much more free time. So, as much as I want to talk about like all the new releases I've seen, I think I'm going to go with an older film from 2015. I watched Me and Earl and the Dying Girl. That movie was actually really good. I think the direction was really well. The editing was fantastic. Both of the lead actors were incredible. Olivia Cook and Thomas Mann, they delivered, man. I don't know if either of you have seen it. Phoenix is shaking his head like he's seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Really good movie. So I didn't give it a star rating because I still need to think about what I want to give it. But yeah, definitely go watch Me and Earl and the Dying Girl.
All right. Zach, what about you?
All right, since Brandon once said, I gotta say it. Blackberry.
Yes.
Phenomenal.
Great movie.
It was a great movie. It was way better than Air ever could be. I feel like everyone rated Air too high because they didn't know Blackberry was coming. And it just blows it out the water. Like the startup of the Blackberry company, the acting is on point. Like I really, really love that movie.
Blackberry's rocking a higher letterbox score than Air.
As Air shouldn't even have a high letterbox score in the first place.
Blackberry has a 3.9. Air has a 3.7.
That's way
Air deserves to be a 3.
Really?
It's an average film. Like it was good, but it's average.
So
like there's nothing special to it.
The problem, but here's my thing, right? And the more, sorry, I know this is what's good. Here, if you're gonna pick between Air and Blackberry, I agree that on paper, Air sounds like it's gonna be a better movie, and it's not. There's no stakes in it. Like you know what happens. They try to pull emotion when there's nothing there to be emotional about. Like I didn't get emotional in that movie whatsoever. So I think Blackberry is a superior choice for this kind of genre of seeing how a company is started and you know what they go through and stuff like that. Blackberry is more intense, it's more fun. Overall, the acting too. I mean, Air was good acting, but the story for Blackberry is just better, which makes the acting even just seem much better. So I would say 100% go check out Blackberry. I gave it 4 stars. I really, really did love that movie. So yeah.
Nice. I'm torn between two, but I'm gonna pick this one. So debut film from Nita Manzoor. So she's a South Asian director, and she brung this movie. Her debut film is called Polite Society.
I've heard it's
Ooh.
so good.
I
It's
wanted to see it.
so good. It's so funny. It's so outlandish and just over the top, and it's so good and ridiculous. And the leads are incredible. They're very, very funny. Yeah, it's a very funny movie, very, action-packed movie. If you like martial arts movies, it's perfect for you. There's a lot of fight scenes in this movie. And it's just so funny to watch. So like I had a blast with it. I gave it 4 stars as well. I'm rooting for Nita Manzoor. I can't wait to see what else she does. Can't wait to see what else her actors Priya Kansara and Ritu Arya do. I know Ritu is in Barbie. She's in the new Barbie film, so I'm looking forward to seeing her in that. But yeah, I had a blast with this. Check it out if you get a chance. So that's Polite Society for me, Blackberry from Zach, and Me and Earl and the Dying Girl from Brandon. All fantastic movies. Hope you guys check them out and let us know what you think. Okay, so with that, it is time for our final code word of season 3.
You are now entering film code.
I am so excited. Brandon, I have to go through the count again, but I do think if you win this one, I think I'm not confirming, but I think you might win the season. But I have to go through the numbers again. So, Brandon, remind everyone what your clues were, your code word was, and all of your clues.
Yes, sir. The code word was burgers. Came out between 2010 and 2015. Your lead actor has 2 Oscar noms under his belt, nominated in the last 5 years. This film was a comedy, and the director has worked on many sitcoms. So in film code fashion, Mr. Zach, kick us off.
So, I didn't really have much of a chance here, so I kind of found something, and I think it might work. Probably not, because there's one of those I didn't get, but the one I did find, it's a movie actually called The Perfect Burger. It's a 2010 movie. It's directed by Todd Carty, who did a lot of TV shows. So which would make sense if we're talking about sitcoms. As far as lead actor goes, I don't that's the one thing I couldn't find. There, the lead actor is this guy named Paul Sursad, and he's a young guy. So that's the one thing I think I did try to research it, but this was the best answer I could find. So I'm gonna go with The Perfect Burger 2010.
I want a cheeseburger now.
Yeah, actually, that does sound pretty good. Okay. That was his guess. I know I'm wrong, but so I got a movie 2015. Director is John Madden, who directed episodes of Sherlock Holmes. Your actor who's been nominated in the past 5 years is Dev Patel, who was nominated from Lion and for Slumdog Millionaire, so 2 nods under his belt. And I believe this is a comedy, and so yeah, and it's about a hotel, so I'm guessing burgers come up. So I went with the second best exotic Marigold Hotel, 2015, directed by John Madden, starring Dev Patel. That is my guess. I don't know. It sounded good.
All right. I have never heard of either of your movies. Your movie director is Larry Charles.
Mm.
Worked on Seinfeld, I think Friends. I because he didn't direct. He worked on Seinfeld, Curb Your Enthusiasm, The Tick.
Okay.
So yeah, those three. Your lead actor is Sacha Baron Cohen. This movie is a comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Your movie is 2012's The Dictator.
Oh,
The word comes in because
what? Wait,
Aladdin names himself Allison Burgers. After his beard gets taken away, and
you know how many times I've seen that movie?
Wow.
I love that movie so much. I love it so much.
That's funny.
Because I have friends who are from Iran, so I've watched that movie with them, and it's hilarious.
Wait a second.
Single time.
What's his 2 nominations? Because I know Trial of Chicago 7.
He got, I think he got a writing knob. Because it wasn't just for an acting knob.
Right. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think he got a nod for Borat's subsequent movie film for for adapted screenplay. Okay. Oh wow. Good job. That was awesome.
Thank you, sir.
Totally was lost on that one. Like
I was close. So, and it's funny you've never heard of that movie, Brandon, because apparently neither is Letterboxd. I found this on IMDb. So,
see, there's a lot of movies on that exist that aren't on Letterboxd.
Yeah.
There's a parody, not a parody. There's a ripoff of Guardians of the Galaxy called Guardian of the Universe, and it's supposed to be really bad. I wanted to see if Ryan could put it on the Plex so I can watch it with Tiffany, just so we can make a fun of a movie, and it's nowhere to be found.
Nice.
Like, I tried searching it up, I couldn't even find it.
That's hilarious.
Well, I'll go through the numbers, and we shall see if Brandon has won the season, or if I have maintained enough of a lead to become the first 2 times.
I should get double points on this one.
Or if Zach came up out of nowhere and just stole the race.
Yeah, if only.
Yeah, okay, bud.
So, congratulations. Thank you guys so much for listening. We've enjoyed our 3rd season with you guys. It's been an amazing ride. We had a lot of fun, a lot of great code words, a lot of great guesses, a lot of bad ones as well. And
that feels personal.
A little bit, like kind of directed at Zach. Anyway, but looking forward to season 4. Cannot wait to get started and hopefully, go to bigger and better places as the years go on. So thank you guys so much for joining us. My name is Phoenix Clouden. Zach, where can everybody find you, sir?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Zach Sneath. That is ZACHSNEATH. Or you can find me on Letterboxd at ZSneaks, which is ZSNEAKS.
And Brandon, where can everybody find you, sir?
You guys can find me on Letterboxd at FANTASMIC ears on Letterboxd. That is Phantasmic Ears. Thank you guys again for listening. Go check out what I'm watching. I've been watching a lot of movies lately, a lot of 2023 releases. And yeah, thank you guys for a fantastic season 3. I guess I'll see you guys next month. Because we're going to be to our listeners out there. We have not stopped podcasting. We are just taking a month break. And yeah, thank you guys again for listening. This has been great.
Yeah, and you guys can find me on Twitter at ImHOReviews1. That's the number 1, and on the Letterboxd Letterbox and on Letterbox under PA Cloudin. And as always, guys, please follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Film Code Pod. And we will see you guys next season 4 of Film Code. We are out of here for now. Peace.